Merry Christmas, everybody. I'd like to share my nativity scene with you all and tell you the story of how I came to have this one. I've told this story a number of times now that there it is, a number of times. So if you've heard it already, please forgive me. But I didn't always have a nativity scene. I I much more like and appreciate the Christmas story, if you will, from John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Word. It's much more cosmic view of Christ, present from the beginning of time, and never had much affection for the story, the Nativity story from Matthew and Luke, knowing that it was a myth, which doesn't mean it's not true. It's just not literal historic fiction. But there are truths in the story. I knew that, but still wasn't my favorite until I decided to buy, since I collect salt glaze pottery, and I found this lovely nativity set, and I bought it, and and I started realizing there was more to it. There was something more to this story. So let me share a little bit with you. It didn't have all of the pieces with it. It didn't have um, an angel, for instance. There was no angel. But I actually found this angel, salt glaze pottery, at a thrift store, which was pretty awesome. And so I brought her home to be with us. And to me, what the angel and the angel chorus in the Christmas story is all about is the line, the veil between heaven and earth is goes away, and heavenly beings come to earth to sing about the birth of Jesus. And so that dividing line between divine and human is gone. It's just not there. And that's the message of Jesus anyway, that God comes to us in human form. So that line between human and divine gets very, very thin. So there's the angel. Now let me find, I think, well, I'll leave this up. This is okay. The shepherds. I didn't get shepherds either, but I found these two guys on eBay. And while they're not blue salt glaze pottery, they are pottery. And I think they actually contribute to the diversity of the scene. And so we have the shepherds there, and a bunch of sheep there, and some cattle over on the other side. And the thing about the shepherds that I've become aware of is that they were the lowliest of the low. They were the dirty, filthy people out in the fields watching over those sheep, and they were nobodies. They were just nobodies. And yet, who did the angel come to first? When that boundary between divine and human melted away, who were the first ones to experience that? The lowest of the low, the lowly shepherds were. And isn't that a wonderful message to take with us for Christmas? That it is about God loving and being with the least of these, the most vulnerable among us, and the least of these. So there are those shepherds who I really love. Um, Now, here's the thing. When I got this set, strangely, there were two oversized ducks in the set. You can see them there next to baby Jesus. Forget about the other animals for a minute, but I got these two oversized ducks, and I could not figure out why there were ducks in this nativity set. But I loved them. And it made me think about how all of creation rejoiced at this wondrous thing of God coming to us, being with us. And not only us as humans, but with all of creation. And so I kept those big old ducks in the scene. And then I found out that they actually are part of another set. They're part of the Noah's Ark set. And I started looking into it, and I discovered, and slowly on eBay, I started finding little bits and pieces here and there and adding to the collection. So, for instance, the elephant and the zebra, and you can see the giraffe back there and the lion over here. And not all of them are the right size, and they're all different, right? Um, but to me, I add them to my nativity set because they represent all of creation. We were all there. We were all there. The heavenly, the lowly, the animal kingdom, Mary and Joseph. And here's the thing about Joseph, too. Joseph there often gets forgotten in the story. Even in the more progressive Christian interpretation of the story, Joseph becomes a sort of intriguing figure. We can put a lot of um, interesting spins on why he was included in the story, but I'm not going to think about that right now. What it says to me is here is a man, a man who did the right thing, who stood by Mary, who cared for Mary, loved her, loved Jesus, and was really what a man should be. And so, in these days of the manosphere and all of the ways that we're hearing about how men are supposed to be, this Joseph gives us some ideas of his maybe he's not a warrior, but in a way he is. He was fierce, he was strong, he stood up for Mary when he didn't have to. And so we can celebrate Joseph as a real man. And so I like that. And I've talked about Mary in a previous video. Mary, who in this scene is more of the meek and mild, and yet, really, think about it, she's just given birth. So the picture, if it were literal, would be a little bit different, right? But there she is. And so there's my scene. Now you might think that, well, where are the Magi? And they're here. I just have to find them for you. Um, because I don't let the Magi get to the manger until Epiphany. And so they're on their way. The camels come from the Noah's Ark scene, and here are the Magi. Now you might notice that there are four of them. For some unknown reason, they gave me four Magi. And I thought that was great too. Because in the Bible, in the Gospels, in Matthew's the only one to have the Magi included. And in the story, it doesn't say three. It just says some people, astrologers from the East, probably Persia. We're pretty sure they came from Persia, probably Zoroastrians, maybe Zoroastrian priests even. Um, Not 100% sure, but that's the general feeling. And so here come these magi, wise ones, who are following a mysterious star. That's another reason I like this story. I didn't include a picture of my star, but um, wonder, awe, things that are outside of our human reasoning, following a star. Not literally, usually. When you're following a star, when you're following a dream, when you're following something that you know is leading you into something that is good, maybe you don't even know what it is. We follow that star that leads us to our fulfillment. So here come these magi, and I've got four of them because why not? But here's the thing I really love that if they are Zoroastrian, this is an interfaith moment. This scene at the manger is an interfaith moment when we have Zoroastrians coming upon a lovely Jewish family and coming to them with gifts, bringing them gifts and bringing the baby their honor. And they respect and honor Jesus as a ruler. And we don't quite know what happened after that. They said they were warned by a dream. That's another great story, a great thing about this story that dreams are important. So it's not just about our head knowledge, but we have dreams and we have stars. Um, but they're warned not to go back the same way because King Herod, the evil King Herod, here you can go his boo, um, um, was out to get Jesus. So they didn't want to run into Herod again. So they went home by another way. It's often what happens to us, right? We follow a star, we get to our destination, and we find what is there for us, and we take it in, and somehow we're changed. And when we return to where we came from, we're different. We go by a different way, and we become different. Hopefully better, transformed, more in touch with the Christ within us. And that, my friends, is my Christmas story, my creche, my Christmas story. And I hope that you are having a wonderful um, Christmas. There we go. Wonderful Christmas. And that maybe my story had some meaning for you as well. Remember, there are 12 days of Christmas, and then we have Epiphany. So we'll wait for the Magi to get closer every day until they get there on Epiphany. So until then, peace.